You have seen me take vintage pickups and take a razor blade to them to find out how they were waxed, right?
I have.
I had a really famous guitar player, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I said, why not? I said, I need to know. He goes, don't do it. Next day the phone rings, he goes, what'd you find?
Yep, exactly.
Everybody, it's Paul. Today we're gonna talk about pickups. It's been one of the main focuses for me personally and this company over a very, very long period of time because they are the microphone of the guitar. Now, let me just hold a pickup, a very simple pickup. This is a John Mayer Silver Sky pickup without the cover on, but fundamentally, let me explain how it works. There are magnets in the coil, and there are winds of incredibly thin wire around the magnets. And as the magnetic field changes, because the string is vibrating over the magnet, it puts a signal into this coil around it. So the string vibrates, the magnetic field moves, and then it moves the magnetic field in the coil, and it creates a signal in the wires that come out. That would be a very simple single coil pickup. When you have two coils in a pickup, the hum and the buzz that come from the world, that you sometimes in some clubs, the hum and the buzz is louder than the guitar. I mean, it's really tough. And so they invented something called a humbucking pickup. And the way it works is the buzz and the hum go into these coils, but if this side is north, one side of the magnet, and the other side is south, and you wire one backwards, it becomes a humbucking pickup, literally, because this one is opposite magnetically than the other one. You can wire it so the sound is in phase, but it cancels the hum because the hum was injected into both coils in the same direction, but the magnetic field is backwards. And so you have what's called a humbucking pickup, which typically looks like that. But we're also starting to make pickups here at PRS that sound exactly like single coils, but they're humbucking. The same way that a jazz bass, you put the two pickups on and it's a humbucking pickup, but it still sounds like a single coil. So there's a lot of variations, but we're gonna show you something really special. And I have somebody here, Chuck Lenderking, who works with me every single day that I'm in the building on pickups, and very often we're on the phone when I'm not in the building. Chuck, come on up. Everybody, this is Chuck.
Hi.
How long have you been working at PRS?
Almost 16 years.
And in that period of time, you've done a lot of jobs here, right?
Yes.
So why don't you tell everybody what the ones they were?
I started on the production floor sanding, and then we moved into prepping in top coat, and then went into final assembly and worked my way up through trainer and to manager for 7 years. And then 4 years ago moved into new products engineering.
And we've been working on pickups ever since.
Ever since. During that time, yeah.
And how many experiments do you think we're running a day?
Oh, 5 to 10 probably per day. Yeah.
It's been a busy time.
It has, yes.
Let's just address this thing for a minute. It's wired with 500K pots and 250K pots.
Yep.
It's wired with all the cable in a single cutaway or a double cutaway, and you can take the electronics out of it and snap on the pickups any way you want. And I know it looks ridiculous, but it has worked so well for us to be able to slide the treble pickup in and listen, and put the bass pickup in and listen, that we keep using it.
Gets the job done.
It gets the job done, so it keeps being here. That's what this thing is. It's the test guitar.
And it also provides, when you're doing iterations of pickups, it's a solid baseline guitar so that you're not putting it in different guitars each time.
It actually is not that great sounding, which makes the pickup have to do its job even more.
Right.
You have seen me take vintage pickups and take a razor blade to them to find out how they were waxed, right?
I have.
I had a really famous guitar player, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I said, why not? I said, I need to know. He goes, don't do it. Next day the phone rings, he goes, what'd you find?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so what do you think about us actually making these old magic things that we take apart and to never be heard again? What did you think when you saw us unwinding stuff and counting turns?
At first, it's scary. And it's like, wait, let's not do that. I don't want to ruin that. But there's really only one way to learn what was done. You got to, dissect it, take it apart.
You're not going to wind it back on.
No, you're not. You can't make it again. It's done.
Not going to happen. So, Chuck, real quick, let's go through some parts.
Yep.
All right. Here's a magnet that goes in a humbucker. Does that make a difference in the sound?
Yes.
Is how it's magnetized make a difference in the sound?
Yes.
Does the material make a difference?
Yes.
Good. What's this?
That's wire. Very small copper coated wire.
Actually made by the grandson of the guy that made all the stuff for Fender and Gibson in the 50s.
Nice.
Yeah. You didn't know that, did you?
I did not know that.
Yeah, well, it runs in the family. Does the coating make a difference?
Yep.
The amount of turns make a difference?
Yep.
Is how it's layered make a difference?
Yep.
Is how tight it was wound make a difference?
Yep.
And you've seen all this on the machine.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's great. And these are what?
Those are magnet slugs for single coil pickups.
For mostly John Mayer's.
For the John Mayer pickup,
right.
yep.
And what about these things?
Those are our slugs for our narrow field deep dish.
Okay, so these are rectangular Alnico magnets.
Right.
Does the material make a difference?
Yes.
You see that on the screen?
Yes.
Can you hear it?
Yes. Paul, let's talk about magnets.
All right.
Alnico in particular. We've recently started using American Alnico. Can you explain what the difference is between different types of Alnico and then within one type, different manufacturers?
Just because it says Alnico 2 on the box doesn't mean they all sound the same. Alnico 2, Alnico 3, Alnico 4, Alnico 5 all have a different amount of high end and a different amount of power and a different way in which they magnetize the pickup. We have spent a tremendous amount of time trying to sort out where we get it made. For me, the stuff we're using now, I just think sounds magic. I'm getting nothing but good feedback about it. But it's not just that it's made in America. I mean, you've got all these jigs and fixtures down there deciding exactly what the Gauss of the magnet is.
Right.
And you're taking a Gauss meter and checking it.
Right.
But I really like the sound of these things. It sounds really good. It's the same thing with the John Mayer magnets. These are Alnico 5. This is a 2. They have a very different character.
Right.
But they're both made in America, and I like the way they sound.
So, Paul, generally, what kind of tone characteristics are you looking for in a pickup?
I'm looking for it to sound musical. We are always trying to get a teeny bit more beautiful high mid-range out of a humbucking, right? Or we're trying to get a little teeny less pick attack note out of a single coil, right? But a musician picks up an instrument, plugs it in the first 10 seconds, they know if they like the tone or not.
Right.
And so I'm looking for that emotionally positive response more than almost anything. I've been surprised by what artists want. There's a new thing we're working on that doesn't sound like anything else we ever did, and it was not something that I would naturally go to. But when you are thinking in the way that he's approaching the instrument, it made real sense to me. I'm being a little esoteric about which project it is we're working on because I don't really want to reveal that in this thing, but it is coming, and it does sound completely different than anything we've done. I mean, I've seen artists just adjust the length of the wire.
Right.
Just pulling the wire back makes a difference.
Right.
How capacitive that cable is makes a difference.
Huge difference.
Well, you can see it on the screen. The note moves around. Chuck, I'm going to show them the machine that we use. But as you know, it gives a really good idea of what the pickup's going to sound like before we ever plug it in. What do you think of that when you first saw these printouts come out of the machine and then you heard what you heard? How did you do? What did you think about relating what you were looking at to what you were hearing?
It provided some clarity. I was able to, put a picture to what I was hearing instead of having to discuss pickups in a subjective, relative way of it sounds muddy or it sounds clear, it sounds sharp, things like that. To be able to point that out on the screen and say, okay, that's the frequency I'm hearing, that's the sharpness or the muddiness or things like that.
Well, I can tell you for everybody else, this is a very active relationship that we have.
Yes, it is.
The last thing that we developed were the McCarty 3s, which, as you know, I really like. Just the cover itself was, a year's worth of work.
Right. There's 10 or 15 parameters just in a cover.
Yeah. And I actually got to play through a set of DMOs the other day, and there was just a wonderful, big sound, but a lot of clarity to it.
Right.
So there's a lot of different things that we're approaching. I would like to demonstrate the machine for everybody, and then you should speak openly about, what you see when you're doing this, because it's not just me. You and I'm asking you every day, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What did you see?
Yep.
All right, so we're going to go around.
Got it.
So Chuck, as you know, the industry tests pickups with their resistance, right? So why don't you test the pickup's resistance the way the world checks a pickup? Okay, so this thing's 5.87K.
Yep.
Okay, so that is the resistance of one of these coils. Right?
Correct.
All right. But this thing tests it completely different way, right?
Right.
So why don't you run this pickup on the machine? The thing that's wonderful for me is that we get a handle on what the experiment that we just ran. Let's say we were changing the turns and adding 50 turns. We wanted to know what the difference was, or we wanted to know what the difference was of how strong the magnet was, or what kind of magnet it was. All these things are tested on this machine. And what's fascinating, the DC resistance tells you one thing, but this tells you a boatload more. Okay, so can you run it? This is the frequency response of that pickup. And you can tell that there's a note that's really loud coming out of this thing. So what's the frequency into a high impedance input?
That is 10,800 hertz.
That's way up in the skies.
Yeah.
But it's loud.
Right.
Okay. Let's run it again. Here's a humbucking pickup that the last time we checked it resonated exactly at the same note, but it wasn't as loud. Can you show them that?
Yes.
I find this fascinating.
10,800 hertz.
But not as loud.
Not as loud. The amplitude is significantly lower.
But the bass and the treble on each side is way louder.
Right.
Which is fascinating to me because it's resonating exactly the same note, it's just not as loud.
Yep.
So in an old Neve console, they would have these inductor EQs where these inductors were tuned to these notes, and they could either take and add that note or take it away in a console, right? And an inductor, this is a really big inductor, it's almost the same as a pickup, just different. It's a wound coil on steel, which is very similar to a wound coil with steel in the middle, right? If you think about a single coil pickup, there's a ring note that you can hear in every note, no matter what note you play, you hear that note.
Yep.
And this thing tests what is that note and how loud it is, and it's been fascinating. So when you see this stuff, what are you thinking has your jaw ever dropped sometimes when you hit the button and you go, I can't believe what I'm looking at?
Yes. Yeah.
And let's explain that to everybody.
So when you're comparing, let's say, a single coil to a humbucker, and you think, these sound very different. They're distinct tones. But then you screen them and you see that it's the exact same resonant frequency. So then you have to equate the differences that you're hearing can't be in that frequency. It's got to be something else in that curve.
It's in the amplitude.
It's in the amplitude of the resonant frequency and the other frequencies that you're getting around that make the difference.
So let's check a pickup with a cover on it, okay? And the thing that's nice about this is it checks exactly what the impact of a cover is.
Right.
You can have the pickup with the cover, and then we can take the cover off, and we do that all the time and look at the difference.
We're always A/B testing.
Now that is not even close to the same.
So that is 5,600 hertz.
So 5.6K.
Yeah.
So it's about half the resonant frequency and about the same amplitude as the other humbucker.
Right.
When we see resonant notes of tele pickups, we see resonant notes of P90s, we see resonant notes of humbuckers, we're starting to get a real handle on what we're looking for and what little nuances make a big difference. If this resonant note moves slightly, the whole high end changes.
Right.
Right. Can you print this out on a piece of paper so I can show everybody? So for everybody, this is exactly what was on the screen, and then you'll fill in the information about what the resistance was, what the capacitance is, how high the amplitude was, all the other stuff, which I find fascinating because I'm getting to the point where I can look at this and have a pretty good idea what it's going to sound like plugged in. Can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Would you please do the John Mayer pickup and print the same thing out so I can hold them side by side? So They look completely different and they sound completely different, right? For me, it's all about the sound of the pickup and my experience when we plug it into the test guitar or whatever it is that we have. This is a tool to help me do my job.
Right.
Because now I can put a number to what I'm hearing, right? So are you to the point at this point where you can put a number to what you're hearing? Are you starting to get there?
I am, yeah. Yeah, very much so.
So it's ear training in a
Yes,
way, right?
that's exactly what this is.
So tell everybody what the process is, say, for making the first DMOs and then experimenting with them and they finally become something that ends up on a guitar. Can you tell everybody that process?
Sure. Initially, the idea comes from Paul and sales, marketing, everybody talking about a new pickup design, what the goal is going to be, what we're going after. And then we will make our first best guess as to what those specifications should be. We will produce a prototype, and then we will iterate that 10, 15, 20, 30 times, changing little things, turning one knob at a time to see what it does until we land on something that we like the sound, and we can repeat it consistently, and then it goes into production.
Okay, but there's another step in that we start to bring all the marketing people and the sales people and the artist relations people in to hear what we developed, and we tell them, we think we're done, what do you think?
Right.
So it's not just our ears.
Correct.
Although when we're done, we go, we're done.
We're done.
And then you have to lock the specs down exactly so it's the same. One of the things I really like about this place is when we finally get it locked, it's the same every time.
Yep.
That it's not willy-nilly, it's locked.
Right.
I mean, I can expect a DMO made now and a DMO made in a year to sound the same.
Exactly.
We're trying to get, let's say, a Fiore middle pickup right. I mean, we made a whole bunch of prototypes till he was happy.
Right. I appreciate getting artist feedback, getting marketing feedback, even feedback from just guitar players in the building. Like, what do you guys think? What is it? How does it sound?
Well, we do have a straw poll of what the market thinks in the building.
Right.
There's a lot of guitar players here.
Yeah.
For me, I'm remembering what it was that Mark sounded like the last time I heard him play. He said, look, I grew up on 70s really bright Strat pickups, and I want a better version of that. It works for him because when he's playing those beautiful rhythm guitar parts that he plays, that pickup just flat out works for him. You know, you don't really know how dark your pedal board is. You don't really know how dark the amp is. I mean, I've seen people pick up guitars, same exact guitar, same exact sound, and one sounds brighter than the other. It was a difference in their hands.
Right.
At the end of the day, in your mind, what does this all mean? I mean, how you must think about this stuff not just during the day, but at night.
You know, it's a highly technical thing to design and prototype and tweak and come up with something we think is perfect. But in the end, it's about, like you've said before, you sit down with the guitar and you're not in a bad mood. You sit there and it just feels good, it sounds good. You might not know why it sounds good or feels good, but you just love it. If we've done our job, you don't have any questions. You pick it up and you go, man, that sounds great.
We're lucky to have the machine. It's been a beautiful learning tool, and you've done a spectacular job.
Thank you.
Getting us to results using it as a tool.
Right.
That's the first time we've showed it to anybody. There's something real special about it that I'm not going to get into. All right, so Chuck, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. I'm going to be up in your area today pushing on something. We're working on it.
I expect nothing less.
Nothing less, yeah. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you very
on.
much.
It's nice to have people that are responsible for these areas of the business to be on film and talk about their experiences, because I'm learning a lot. There's been a lot said in these videos, and it's fun. So thanks for being on.
Appreciate it. Thank you.